Hey everybody, it's Big E. Welcome to Big E's YouTube channel. No, this isn't Big E After Dark, some porno. We're actually working on the car, but ever have one of those days when you're so freaking busy you don't have time to get done what you need to get done. So it's after 10 o'clock. We're out here shining shit again, working on the turd. So we're in the trailer. As you can tell by the way I'm dressed. We had a cold front move in, so it's cold as balls right now. So I'm really not too thrilled about being out here in the trailer, but I don't have a choice because I don't have a shop. And I'm working out of my race trailer. So, and I'm tired, so I'm a little bit of an attitude, so I apologize ahead of time because I'm going to be short with stuff, but got to get it done. So, if you're a fan of the channel, you know what's going on. We're in the middle of figuring out the brake system. Seems to be one of the biggest gremlins we've had with the turd is this brake system. So I was talking with someone, and the piston in the master cylinder is too big. So therefore, it's great if you have drum brakes, but when you run a disc brake, drum brake combo that we're going to do, right now we have all disc brakes. So when you run disc brakes, it's all about pressure, not about how much volume you can move. So therefore, with disc brakes, you need a smaller piston, which produces higher pressure, but it's a much softer pedal. So it's kind of a weird feel, but we're going to try it out. So anyway, I got the new master cylinder. You saw in the last video, we bench bled the master cylinder. We're going, just to recap, we're going from a 1.125 piston master cylinder to a 1.032, a little bit smaller piston. Also, upcoming is we're going to swap out the disc brakes for drum brakes. That's going to be an upcoming video. People are like, well, why do you want to go from disc brake to drum? Usually everybody's doing the opposite. True, if you're going to road race. We're not road racing, we're drag racing. So therefore, we need as much braking force as possible to leave the line so we can load up the converter. That's why we're going to do the drum brake conversion, because we're really not worried about stopping at the top end, although that is something important that we need to do. If not, you're going to sand traps. You don't want to do that. But you won't do that with a rear drum front disc situation, which is what we're going to convert the turd to. But as for now, the heart and soul of your brake system is the master cylinder. And I'm not tech savvy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of glance here what I'm doing. I don't know is if you can see. This is the master cylinder here that we're taking out. We got the brake lines. We got that. I'm going to see, I don't know if you can see back on the firewall there where the master cylinder bolts to. I don't know if you can see it over here where I'm pointing. You see here's the master cylinder, and then there's this aluminum piece, right? Okay, and hopefully you can see that because I can't see it. That is a adapter plate specifically made for the 4th gen F body conversion when you're going to the Mopar style master cylinder manual brakes situation. That's actually Ed Quay Race Cars part out of Pottstown, PA. So if you're doing a 4th gen manual brake swap for drag racing, check out Ed Quay. You'll find that piece. So anyway, with that being said, you know what's going on. What I'm going to do is, I hope you guys don't mind, I am going to set you on the sidelines to watch. And I'm going to try and explain every step that I'm doing here as I'm doing it. So I'm going to set you up right there. I hope I don't blind you with my headlight. So, anyway, so we have our master cylinder here. Let me get this down. We have our master cylinder over here in this area here. And we have our lines loose, and we have our we have the 2 mounting bolts loose. Now what you want to do is you want to be careful. Let me see if and it won't let me zoom in. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to be careful when you that ain't working either. When you pull the master cylinder out, there's that rod that's back there that goes from your brake pedal and it goes into the piston boss. I'm going to say where it goes. Careful not to drop that out because that's only held in with a rubber thing. So that might be the pain in the butt situation here. I'm hoping I don't have that happen. If it does, we're going to be pretty much done for the night. So without further ado, I'm going to start with loosening up the brake lines. So remember, that's what I did wrong last time was I put the front brakes on the front brakes on the front port, and I did the rear brakes on the rear port, and it's wrong. That's actually wrong. I didn't know that. So for all these years, I had that backwards. So what you want to do, your rear brakes, I guess because you're going to want to have so much fluid movement, you're using a bigger brake line because of your drum brakes that are going to be in the rear. You want that in the front. You're going to want your, again, rear brakes go to the front port. And then obviously your front brakes, which will probably 9 times out of 10 be disc, and you're going to have a smaller line anyway, you need more pressure, are going to go to the rear port. So I thought these lines were a little better coming out. You're going to have to crack them loose and then you can crank them out. I'm using a flare line wrench. Which is 7/16 of an inch on this. Naturally, nothing is working with me here. So, there we go. Now I'm going to pull it out. At least loosen up my fingers. So that one's out. The rear one will be a 3/8 flare. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn that out and get these brake lines off. And of course it takes forever. So, anyway. Let me wipe off my hands here before I grab anything. If not, it's all weird and disgusting. Kind of like a first date with a slut in high school. Your hands get all disgusting. Anyway. So this is what we have so far. I don't know if you guys can see there, but I got the lines loose here. Here's for your rear brakes, and there's for your front brakes. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so our next step is going to be actually removing the master cylinder from the firewall. So I loosened up the bolts a little bit just to check everything out and see what tool I needed. You're going to need, well, for this particular one, it's 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch socket. That's the side. Well, the bolt, whatever. What was that, like a 5? Then we got a 5/16. I'm not real up on my machinist stuff. But anyway, that's what Ed Quay has using for the adapter block. So we're going to go ahead and okay, so I have a feeling it's not loose enough, but with the way my luck has been today, who knows? So, oh hey, there we go. really hope this goes good. Okay, so there's one bolt out. My memory serves me correctly. I hope it does. It's only 2 bolts. I think it's 3. Yeah, I think it's only 2 because the adapter has 3 holes. You need. Now, I have the master cylinder loose, but the boot's back there. And there it is. Okay, cool. So, be very careful when you have your master cylinder, because if you get, I'm going to set this down here. Anyway, here's the, let me turn this up. This is blinding everybody. So here's the old master cylinder, okay? So you got to be careful about fluid coming out of here, where your brake line's in here. Because if you're not careful, that brake fluid, if it gets on your paint, it will literally, I actually have a drop I got on my headlight from this project, and it loosened the paint up, and that's not good. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this, and I might need to get physical with it by getting a hammer to try and get this off here. And I apologize, anybody watching this video, I don't mean to blind you with my headlamp, and I'm sorry if I am. Alright, so I'm going to set this, because right now my trailer's doubling for my daughter's art project for school, and I have that particular on the workbench. And so I'm worried if I get brake fluid on her art projects and get ruined most likely. So I gotta watch myself. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we have the new master cylinder here. Now, so we're gonna go ahead. And in the supplied deal here, we already have the rods, so I'm going to put the new boot on that comes in the kit. As you can see, new boot. Okay. We don't need the rod because the rod's already there, so we're going to put this over here. And I'm going to do this here. So I'm going to, let me see here, that there. Okay, sweet. Now, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take this line off that I left on from when we bench blended, okay? I mean, the lighting here is terrible, but you can see. Take that off. Put the cap on. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to try and get this thing on without a big hullabaloo. And of course, it doesn't take long for an issue, which the stupid boot isn't cooperating. So, what I'm going to do is, it's just a boot. It's not really a wear issue. I'm going to take the one off the old one and put it on. Simply because of the fact that that hole is worn. All it does really is keep dust and dirt and stuff out. It really doesn't seal anything. I'm not too concerned about it. So I'm going to put that on and put this on, line up where your mounting holes are going to be for there, okay? Now, okay, so for whatever reason we're doing. All right, so okay, much better. So now I see what happened. Okay, that's gonna that's gonna be a bad situation. Well, not a bad situation. It's just gonna make it a little more involved. So what I'm gonna do, try and line everything up. This is the hard part. It's basically given, you know, the lack of light that we have. There it is. So the only thing we have to do yet, and this is my fault because I just wasn't paying attention. We have to switch out the one line on the master cylinder because I have the wrong one on, and I need the bigger one for the rear brake stuff. So hopefully we'll get that resolved. So, but I want to get this at least in place for that. So what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to tighten that up. That's actually not, tightening this up is not going to affect that. In fact, it'll help. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to tighten the bolts for where I put this on where it mounts on the firewall, or the adapter that is mounted to the firewall, for if you want to get specific. So we got that one tight, which we can tighten because we have them both they're lined up and they're started, so it's going to go in the way it should. So I don't know why it's loose, but it is. All right, so let's try this again. I think I know why. Okay, so I screwed up. I have to put that other spacer in. I forgot about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that other spacer on. I'm going to mount it on the firewall, and then when I come back, I'm going to show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, Big E, I'm back. We got the master cylinder on. I swapped out that fitting for the right one for the rear brakes. See, as you guys can see, the lines are there. They're tight. It's tight on the firewall there. I wiped off everything. Because basically, let me see if I can get my light up. I don't want to blind you guys. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to want to wipe off all connections, all your brake line connections, and then wipe that off. Wipe off any brake fluid that's around, because, like I said, it will eat into paint. It will loosen the paint. You're going to have to do a paint repair also, so please be careful. I highly recommend paper towels on brake fluid. It sucks it up, and it also helps it just wipes it cleaner. Because your next step would be, at this point, with the brake lines hooked up, your next step would be bleeding the brakes. So we're not bleeding brakes on the Turd because, like I said in the beginning of this video, we're going to swap out the rears to drum brakes. So we're going to be opening up the brake system again. So it kind of be, you know, kind of like wiping before you poop. It doesn't make sense to bleed it at this time. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it as shitty ass until we're done. And then we'll wipe everything up at the end. So anyway, I hope you learned a lot. Take care of each other. Watch out for each other. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Big E's. Bye for now.